everyone, welcome. Come to another spook-filled episode of Movie Match Reviews on YouTube. Today's review is, I'm going to be discussing whether or not Hocus Pocus and some other Disney films were too scary for children. So, a little history lesson is back in the late 70s and early 80s, beginning with The Black Hole, Disney began making films that were not necessarily for children, but more for the adult, older kid generation. And from this, we had movies like, again, Black Hole, Watcher in the Woods, Tron, Tex, Something Wicked This Way Comes, Never Cry Wolf, Trench Coat, and all of these were geared more for the older teen adult crowd. And this effort eventually led to the creation of Touchstone, and most, if not all, of these releases on home video, Disney would hide their name. It wouldn't be until '86 where they said, yes, we did sign off on this. And Return to Oz as well. And those films were heavily criticized for being too adult and too scary. Like Watcher in the Woods, enough to where the release history of the film is really interesting in that the film, as it was initially turned in, ran 100 minutes long, and it was cut down to 84 minutes for theatrical release. The film screened in New York with a different ending, and it was eventually pulled and re-released to theaters with the ending that, of course, we all got. The movie was lambasted for being almost too frightening, and it's like, well, did anyone read the book? Or something? And in 2002, Anchor Bay Entertainment had discovered a couple of minutes of the Wasp footage alongside a different opening credit sequence, and they wanted to release a 2-disc DVD featuring the original preview cut alongside the theatrical cut. Disney did not clear them to go forward with it. So fast forward to 1985, the trailers and TV spots were advertising seeing Return to Oz as something that was in vein with the 1939 film. It's like, oh, maybe we should go see it. That one would be nice and good for the kids. Well, when people saw the actual movie, they were in for a surprise. Well, the film flopped because of the fact, again, the misleading cover, the trailers. You do not see this happen. It's like in the movie. Well, actually you do, but it's in different context. And the film flopped, and now these three, it's like only The Black Hole achieved success, Watcher and Return to Oz were eventually vindicated. And the last one that is the subject of this review is 1993's Hocus Pocus. Now, the history of this film is that the reason why it probably is the way it is it was supposed to be made on for Disney Channel. And the old channel. But when Bette Midler had signed on, they changed course and said, okay, maybe we can get some big names and we can put this out in theaters. Well, contrary to popular beliefs, Hocus Pocus actually did well at the box office, but again, it was criticized for being almost too frightening, and a lot of the stuff that they were saying in there, like the jokes about the Virgin being the one to wipe the candle, were kind of like, are you sure this is a in-house Disney film? It says right there. It's like all of these films had some measure of being criticized, but a lot of it just seems to be like values and dishonest. Like when we watched Return to Oz, we actually said that it was more cute than outright frightening. Watcher in the Woods, which we viewed last night, actually was legitimately terrifying in some parts. And I don't want to say anymore because I'll do a review on it. And Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was also criticized for having scenes that were almost too frightening. But unlike these others which were vindicated, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was actually a hit out of the gate. So I think if these other films were criticized for being too scary, I think it's one of those that's like at the time, and then you sit down and watch them later, it's like, oh, maybe this wasn't as frightening as it was back then. Then, sure, there's a few scary scenes in it, but it makes up for the charm. The charm of it. So, is Hocus Pocus and these other films too scarier for children? No. It's like, I mean, coming up from someone who grew up watching Hocus Pocus like every Halloween on TV, it's a testament to their timeless value. But Watcher in the Woods, Disney and Return to Oz, Disney actually recommended that parents actually view the films themselves before and leaving it to their discretion whether or not to show the kids. So that's my 2 cents on whether or not Hocus Pocus and the Disney films I mentioned here were too scary for children when they first came out. You can check the channel from previous stuff. The next review will actually be Watcher in the Woods. Although by the time I get to that one, it will be past Halloween, but who cares? So have a safe and happy Halloween, and that's Movie Matt signing off.